Have you ever wondered what triggered the catastrophic events of the world wars? Let's begin our journey with the spark that ignited the first of these global conflicts. In the heart of Europe, the year was 1914. The world was a tangled web of alliances and rivalries, a powder keg waiting for a spark. That spark arrived in the form of a bullet. The victim, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire. His assassination in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist set off a domino effect of diplomatic crises. Each nation, bound by intricate alliances, was pulled into the fray. The tensions among countries, simmering for years, suddenly boiled over. What could have been an isolated incident escalated, driven by a complex system of alliances into the first truly global conflict, World War I. And so, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand set the wheels of World War I in motion. But what about the underlying causes that had been smoldering beneath the surface? We must delve deeper to understand the true fuel to the fire of the world wars. Unsurprisingly, these roots are tangled and complex, with several key factors contributing to the eventual eruption of conflict on a global scale. Firstly, we have militarism. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a dramatic increase in defense expenditure across Europe. This arms race created an atmosphere of suspicion and fear, further straining already tense relations between nations. Next, we have imperialism. The scramble for colonies around the world was not just about expanding territories, it was a power play, a display of superiority, and a source of raw materials and wealth. The more colonies a country had, the stronger it appeared on the world stage. Then there was nationalism, a double-edged sword. On one hand, it fostered pride and unity within nations. On the other, it intensified rivalries and hatred between different ethnic groups, particularly in the powder keg of Europe, the Balkans. Lastly, we cannot forget the intricate system of alliances. While designed as a deterrent to war, these alliances ended up dragging entire nations into the fray. What could have been isolated conflicts instead snowballed into a world war. The aftermath of World War I saw the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. The victorious Allies imposed harsh terms on Germany, including significant territorial losses, severe restrictions on its military, and hefty reparations. While the treaty aimed to ensure peace, it instead bred resentment and anger within Germany. Humiliated and economically crippled, the nation was ripe for a leader who promised to restore its former glory. This resentment, coupled with the rise of Adolf Hitler, set the stage for World War II. The Treaty of Versailles, rather than ensuring peace, sowed the seeds for another devastating conflict. And so, the world was once again plunged into darkness as the flames of war were fanned anew. So, how did these seeds of resentment blossom into World War II, you might ask? Well, it's a tale of rising totalitarianism, global economic turmoil, and policies that aimed to maintain peace but inadvertently led to war. In the aftermath of the First World War, we saw the rise of fascism in Germany and Italy. These regimes, led by figures like Hitler and Mussolini, were fueled by nationalistic fervor and a desire to reclaim lost territories and prestige. Meanwhile, nations like Britain and France adopted a policy of appeasement, hoping to avoid another conflict by making concessions to these aggressive powers. But let's not forget the Great Depression, an economic catastrophe that swept across the globe in the 30s. This economic hardship created the perfect breeding ground for discontent and extremism, further fueling the march towards war. The rise of totalitarian regimes, global economic depression, and the policy of appeasement all conspired to plunge the world into another devastating war. So let's quickly recap the reasons behind the world wars. The spark that lit the fuse was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, an event that set off a domino effect among the world's superpowers. The major causes of World War I were militarism, imperialism, nationalism, and alliances. These forces created a powder keg of tension that was ready to explode at the slightest provocation. Following the end of the Great War, the controversial Treaty of Versailles was established, breeding resentment and setting the stage for another conflict. The rise of fascism, particularly in Germany and Italy, further stoked the flames of war. Meanwhile, a global economic depression left nations desperate and willing to follow radical leaders promising change. So, a complex web of factors, both political and economic, led to the two most devastating conflicts in human history, the World Wars.